Takeo is hiding something from us. There is a quote he says in Ashes of the Damned which makes me very, very suspicious about his past, because compared to his counterparts, Richtofen, Nikolai and Dempsey, who are from the not so distant past, the 1970s, 80s, 90s and 40s, Takeo is from the 1500s, a long time before any of the other crew members even existed. We now believe we know why Weaver, Carver, Meyer and Gray are here, because they were touched by the Sentinel artifact, but we don't quite know why the others are, apart from them being touched by some great power. And well, when it comes to Takeo, just take a listen to this.
Now is not the time. If I wish to know your opinion, I will ask.
So you hear this strange sound, and then a couple of seconds later, Takeo begins almost talking to someone or something inside of him, and only he can hear them. He says, now is not the time. If I wanted to know your opinion, I would ask. This is the only time when you're playing this map you ever get something of the sort. If you miss this quote, you wouldn't know that Takeo is talking to what I assume is some kind of spirit, at least that's probably how he would describe it. And then when you know about the Oni, which Takeo talks about a lot in this game, if you've played any Japanese video game, you probably would have heard that word before, especially if you're fresh off the back of Ghosts of Yotei. But an Oni is a demon, orc, ogre or troll in Japanese folklore, typically depicted as a monstrous, large and powerful being, often with horns, fangs and wild hair. They are supernatural monsters, and Takeo is from the time where Japanese people believed in that. He even describes the warden as a demon.
Whatever that demon planted, it has taken root within me. I must remember what is real and hold fast.
So Takeo is all about that. He believes the zombies and warden are also some kind of Oni.
The Oni that plague my land are similar to these. I never imagined their disease could be found elsewhere.
Yeah? Well, the bastards have overtaken every inch of my life for the past decade. So if you're pissed, I get it.
And that wouldn't be so suspicious to me if we didn't hear that sound play before Takeo started speaking to himself. It is clear this is not just something he is imagining, it's not made up, there is something talking to Takeo, offering its opinion. And well, when you listen to this next quote, maybe we can start to get some answers.
I have done things of which I am not proud. I wonder if I was brought here as punishment.
We're soldiers, Tak. Fucked up shit is what we do. But even if it ain't punishment, that chicken-fried vampire has something in mind for us.
He mentions having done things in his past of which he is not proud of, and wonders if he has been brought here as punishment for that. Now, all of these characters seem to have done something wrong in order for them to be transported here. We learned in Ashes of the Damned, Dempsey was in the jungles of Vietnam watching his post, when all of a sudden, his Dimensions version of Weaver and Dr. Strauss approached him, told Dempsey to bring him and his men along with him. When they eventually arrived at a temple, they began to get overrun by the undead, and seeing no other way, I guess, before they were all overrun and killed, Dempsey was injected with a serum, turned into a disciple himself, and started killing everyone around him, including the zombies and his own men. And then when the serum wore off, he turned back into his normal self and was given a medal for being a hero and saving some of his own platoon. But what the officer that gave him the medal didn't know was that it was Dempsey who had turned into one of these zombies and actually killed some of his own men in the process. So even though it wasn't Dempsey's fault exactly, he didn't know what was going to happen to him. That was the bad thing that Dempsey had done in his past that I believe ultimately led him to being transported into the Dark Ether. We know that Richtofen is a Nazi, so there could be 1,000 bad things that he's done in his past. Nikolai was a tank commander in Afghanistan. There could be 1,000 bad things he's done as well. And so you could imagine for Takeo being a samurai warrior from 1500s feudal Japan, he's probably done some pretty bad things as well. He even mentions himself going after bandits. He has probably killed a lot of people.
I take it you're a sword for hire. Suppose if you boil it down, you could say the same for us.
I slay more bandits than demons, but there is enough work to live comfortably. I am told my rates are quite competitive.
I don't know if killing bandits would be considered bad during that time. The way he talks about it makes me feel like that isn't a bad thing to Takeo at least, so there must be something else that he's done in his past which he considers bad, things that he isn't proud of. But what that is, we don't know. It could have something to do with this demon talking to him inside of his head though. And he does mention him freeing himself from demons before.
Hope you enjoy this pocket of perdition. It's where you'll dwell for the rest of your miserable days.
I have freed myself from curses before. I shall do so again.
Here's an interesting theory. In Vanguard Zombies, we learned that one of the Elder Gods, Syraxis, used her artifact to cross over from the Dark Ether to the human world, Earth, where she mingled with the Japanese locals in the 1500s, where she was worshipped by them. They even constructed a shrine for her. In fact, Syraxis exerted her influence in Japan all the way up until the Edo period. They believed her to be a kitsune, which was a fox spirit. So could it be that not only did Takeo come into contact with Syraxis, but what if this spirit he seems to be talking to is her? Could Takeo have bonded with Syraxis? In the Vanguard Zombie storyline, she did end up getting banished back into her artifact. So if Takeo was being dragged from the year 1591 and Syraxis was in Japan until the Edo period, which was the 1600s, she was only banished from there not long after the year Takeo was from, which is, in my mind anyway, something Treyarch would 100% do. So did he come into contact with her, or going further, could Syraxis be the one talking to him? How that would work, I'm not sure exactly because the Dark Ether is not in 1591, but let me know what you guys think about that one in the comment section below. He also says this.
Tell you what, Samurai Sam, my brain feels like a gas station hot dog.
My name is Takeo. Your idiom I do not understand, but I struggle to recall my brother's name. This Kyukitsuki did more damage than I feared.
The characters are suffering from memory loss after their essence was stolen by the Warden. And Takeo, I don't have the subtitles, it's quite difficult to understand what he's saying exactly, but I believe he says he is struggling to remember his brother's name. We never, no matter which incarnation of him you look at, Ultimus, Primus, this new Dark Ether version, learned that much about Takeo's background. The Primus/Ultimus version's grandfather had a cherry blossom tree in which he would sit under. He was a soldier that fought for the Imperial Japanese Army, but was betrayed by the Emperor. His bio in World at War, which I haven't read for a long time, we got this all the way back in DLC 2, which was Shinonuma, said, "Enter Takeo, for whom life has no meaning, if not to perfect your discipline and to reveal true character and honor." Perhaps he ponders this and other philosophical questions as his katana slices through the flesh and sinew of his enemy. Our hero was born into wealth. His family dynasty dates back several centuries, and throughout that time, they have been highly decorated samurai and bushido. Well, Takeo was no exception to this celebrated bloodline. Even when the family saw the young, life-filled 5-year-old Takeo playing in the streets with his katana and slicing through the tails of terrified kittens, it was obvious he was destined to bring honor to the Masaki name. Reserved and reflective, the war is a perfect opportunity for Takeo to explore his bloodlust and study the nature of those less honorable than himself. So if you fall victim to a swift action and might know that you have helped a man better than you reach enlightenment. That was the description for Ultimus Takeo. No matter how boring you thought he was, believe it or not, back in the day, a lot of people did think he was the most boring character. He was arguably one of the coldest. Maybe that's why he got the tag he did. As for Primus Takeo, his biography read, Captain Takeo Masaki came from a noble family that had dutifully served the Emperor for decades, and well, we know what happened after. Like I said, he was betrayed. And then we have this new Dark Ether Takeo's bio, which reads, Takeo Masaki is a disgraced ronin who wandered 1591 feudal Japan without master or honor, carrying the weight of his exile as a yoki cannot cast off. Bound by code he only still barely believes in, he seeks redemption in the chaos of battle. His blade, both a burden he must bear and a judgment on his enemies. So it is obvious by their bios, each version of Takeo we've seen, Primus, Ultimus, or the Dark Ether one, is different, and that would be obvious with the times they are from, especially this new one being from the 1500s. So Takeo is hiding something. Richtofen is a very out there character, someone who probably can't keep a secret. Dempsey doesn't seem like he would care enough. Nikolai, I could see that, especially this version of him. However, Takeo seems to be staying off the radar for now, not only because he is so different from the rest, but we've heard it ourselves, he is haunted by an Oni. Judging by the way it is giving him advice, could that mean this spirit is good? Which would then take me back to Syraxis. She was a good elder god, in quotation marks, or could this spirit end up being bad? And with this, what role will it play in the storyline? Could there be a shocking twist of, I don't know, Takeo ends up betraying us? Because so far, the story seems pretty simple, right? We're going to defeat these Shadowsmiths to break their bond between them and the Warden and then get our souls back and hopefully be transported back to our own dimensions. Knowing the COD Zombie storyline, it's definitely not gonna go that smoothly. There will be a big twist in there and some smaller ones along the way. So this potential mystery character bonded with Takeo is one to look out for. Anyway, there we go. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. As always, hopefully you've enjoyed the video. If you have, drop a like rating, make sure you are subscribed to stay up to date with the latest content on the channel, and I will see you in the next one. Until then, goodbye.